G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. As you know, if you've been following my channel for a while, I love Shimpaku junipers, and this one's no exception. I have shown this tree previously in the past, about a few months ago. It was a pickup from a sales area at the show, and I thought this had quite an exceptional future for this tree. I've been eager to continually have a look at the tree and understand what I want to do with it. And they always chop and change when you look at trees like this, and it has a lot of good features. We'll probably make too much noise. A lot of interesting features in this tree. It's got some nice dead wood there. You can see it nice and clear. It's got a nice trunk that's slanting. It's got lots of nice healthy foliage. It's got some shari work done already. What else? It's got a couple of really big branches down here. Couple of really big branches down here. It's got a nice little apex that we can work with. It's got this heavy back branch in the back here. You can probably see how it's been half cut off and half let go. Now, when I was looking at this tree, as I said, I've been studying this tree for a while, and it's an interesting, exciting tree. One of the couple of things that are stood out is the gin, nice gin shari that's on the tree. I want to make sure that's a feature. I want to make sure that's explainable and understandable. I want to see how far that goes down, because I think it goes down a bit further. So that's one thing. I want a compact tree as well. At the moment, this tree is too big for its trunk. I want to have a nice, compact, small tree. It's really small and really foliage-wise small, but nice gin, deadwood, shari everywhere. And that's what I'm trying to contemplate and think about. One thing I don't want to waste is this back branch in the back here. Okay. Now, usually, if you know me, I airlay anything that I airlay everything on a tree pretty much. If I want to cut it off, if I want to cut this off, I'll airlay it. But in this case, I am actually going to do that. There's a nice thick branch there. It's a nice healthy foliage there. It's got a really nice bit of deadwood there, nice bit of foliage there. That is ideally a fantastic piece of stock in the future. If we airlay that off, it'll be an awesome little mini. I can just see it. A great little mini with movement, excitement, interest, and so on. So first things first, let's look at that. That's one thing I would have to do immediately, is airlay that off, ready for cutting off in about 3 months' time. That's one thing. Now, the next thing I want to do is actually try and work on this shari here, to try to find how far down it goes, because I definitely think it's gone. I can see that it's starting to peel off, so definitely there's some deadwood happening there. And then I want to make a decision on this tree. I want to make a decision quickly and pretty much now what I want to do with this tree. So what I plan to do is do some rough sketches. Sometimes if you can't exactly picture what you want, just have a couple of ideas. I have a couple of ideas, one really strong idea, and the other two are okay ideas. They all hinge around these two heavy branches. What am I going to do with them? Now, usually if you know me, I airlay branches that I don't want. Now, if I airlay that off, there's not much left on the tree except this bit of foliage. Now, I need to think about what I want to do. If I want to take all this off, do I want to airlayer it, or do I want to create gins and blend it all with the tree, creating a really nice, small, compact with shari and gin and so on. That's my idea. That's my thinking at the moment. I know probably people think, wow, you got such good foliage. Well, if you just wire all this out and this out and this out and this out and this out, you create this huge mass of foliage and then some gin on this side. And it's like, well, I don't know. How does a tree tell a story where it's gone through the wars and died off and so on, and then you've got a huge bit of foliage and nice and healthy and everything on the other side? That's not the story I want to tell. I want to tell a story of this tree's, struggled to survive. The trunk has undergone so much devastation, but the tree hangs on and still lives in the small capacity of the foliage that it has. That's the story I want to tell, and I think that's the way I'm leaning. But do I remove these, or do I gin them and create some interesting gins with them? And then how does this all fit in? So that's the big decision. I'm pretty confident that I want to eliminate these two branches in the sense that make gins. And then I want to see how this comes about. So I'm going to have a closer look, sketch out a few designs and see what we can come up with. So first thing I'll do is put an air layer on the back, then I'll work on the shari, and then I'll sketch out what I want to do with this tree. And if I like it, I'm going to go for it pretty much. It's a good time of year to do it. It's coming into spring. Give all the energy to this part of the tree. The only negative, I might get some juvenile growth, because I'll be cutting quite a bit off the tree. Even though I have the air layer there with that foliage at the back, that's okay, but these two branches here are quite heavy and quite full of growth. So sorry about talking so much, but I want people to understand the process, what you think and how you think about a tree and what you want to try and achieve with it and so on. So it doesn't come overnight. You study the tree and come up with different designs, different ideas, draw them, sketch them. I'm the worst drawer, worst sketcher, I'm hopeless, but at least it'll give me the idea of what I want to try and create. So that's what I'm going to do today. Well, not today, you'll see it as a one video, but it probably takes multiple days to do this work. But first things first, I'll do the air layer and put it on. This is not an air layering video. Go back through my channel and see there's a whole ton of air layering videos I've done in the past about how to air layer and so on. So first thing I'll do is I'll put the air layer on, and then you'll see what it looks like. And then I might actually cover it with a bit of cloth so you can see if there's any change. Okay, we'll be back. So it's pretty clear. I put a little air layer at the back here to air layer this part of the tree off. And remove that hopefully December this year. It's currently mid-August. It shouldn't take longer than until December, and that will be rooted in there, and I'll just take that off, cut it off. So that's a really good point. That's a really good start. I just thought I might find a piece of black something to cover this now. So I want to have a look at the rest of the tree with you guys and show you what we can do. So if you do this for temperate, you can do this. Really, it's not at any time. I'll cover the tree up so you can kind of now see what we're looking at. Like now we can actually see that doesn't interfere with the look of the tree. Now you can probably see what I was talking about in terms of the feature of the tree being that. Now if we go and keep a lot of it, probably there is around the front, I reckon. If we keep a lot of this foliage, we're going to have a very long tree, big tree, and it's not going to look the best. So I'm going to have to come up with some sketches, but next thing I'll do is I'll do some shari work. I'm just going to get a nice sharp knife and just work along. I only actually, one thing I do is I don't really cut the live vein, I just look for the dead vein and peel off the bark. So it is a slow process, but you just have to go along and try and feel through where it is. Now, a bit hard to show you with a big black plastic, but you can tell that this whole big trunk has actually started to die back, and I will just keep exposing that with a sharp knife. And it's just falling off pretty much, just died right back. I just want to find where it's alive, and I'll make a line where it's live, and I won't cut past that point, I'll leave that point, and I'll just carve away the dead bit, and that's the process. So let me carve this away and we'll have a look what it looks like. Alright, so I think I left you off where I was going to just try and carve down the trunk where I can see the live vein. So it comes down to about there and goes back up. So it doesn't go all the way to the root, to the base. So that's where it goes. So I've just cleaned that up a little just to see what it looks like. It's only comes down to about here, and then it goes back up. So it's a bit of it doesn't go all the way down. So that's just naturally how it's done it. As I mentioned to you guys, I just want to give you an idea of what it looks like in terms of in my head, what I try and envision. And if I eliminate all these, I'm only left with this part of the tree. Now this is the idea. Bear in mind, my sketches are terrible, my drawings are terrible, but you know, it is trying to give you an idea. Oh, it's too bright actually. Can't believe it's too bright. Hang on, let me see if I can come in a bit. Oh, there you go. Kid-like drawing. So you can see kind of the trunk, the dead wood, and those branches that are going to become gins down here on this side, and the green foliage, just a little bit of foliage. That's the thinking. That's the idea I've got to get to this tree. It's going to be interesting. And the only thing I'm worried about is the juvenile foliage that it will push out. but I think it's ultimately best for the tree. What I think, because these, let me explain to you. If I keep these, I keep all these big heavy ones, I would have to wire them down and try and layer them on top of each other, and it's going to widen the tree, make it too wide. I want to make the tree smaller, so that's the main reason why. Now I might actually, once after I've ginned these branches, I might actually put wire on them, give them a bit of a bend and twist. I don't want straight branches. Just think about all the rest of the trees all nice and twisted up. Why would you have straight branches? So let's go for it, I think. Let's go for it. All right. So pretty much, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see me work on this. I will try. I'm going to try and collect cuttings as well. These are all nice, healthy little bits and pieces. So nice, healthy tree. So I'm going to keep trying to make sure, trying to get some cuttings off this. Maybe I'll work on the side so you guys can see what I'm doing. Maybe that's a bit better. Alright, so 2 heavy branches, these 2 heavy ones. Anything that's pretty young, so that's pretty small, but it's a nice little cutting. Now this one's quite a nice size one, so I'm going to take him, so leaving that much to gin. We'll look what that does in a bit. Just make sure I've cleaned myself up. Alright, so we just keep going through it. Anything that's too small and fine gets chucked out. So pretty much I've done this branch. See that there? It's pretty much done. Now we'll do the back one. It's a reasonable sized branch. I try and leave a bit of a stub so I can create something with it. Alright, so there you go. Very quickly I've transformed this tree entirely. Now I've got 2 large branches that I want to gin. Now I expect what happens is now these 2 branches will be killed off. I expect in time there'll be a nice dead vein along the trunk. Don't know where it is yet, but that's what I would expect it to happen and expect it to produce. So quickly done. That's done. There you see where the foliage is. You see where the dead wood is, and that's what we're going to try and work on. So now we just work on these guys. I'm just going to get my gym pliers. So I just make sure that, because I'm going to come up all this, I'm just going to score this so I don't go too far up and wreck the main trunk. So I want to kind of keep a natural looking gin happening. So if you go and squish with your gym pliers or any pliers at all, you just squish along the tree. So that's that one kind of done, roughly done. Now I'm going to go away and do this one. Just same process, and then I'll come back and we'll have a look what it looks like. Alright guys, so both of these have been gin. I'm hoping now you can kind of see the vision that I had for this tree. We're going to figure out where the front is exactly and so on, but at least now you can see by ginning those I have lots of options to pull this down, make a smaller tree, much more interesting, much more compact. Next step is I'm going to wire these because I think they're going to be sit too high. I want to try and get them down lower and let them get hardened off over time. I'm not going to lime sulphur them just yet. Lime sulphuring is when you paint it with lime sulphur and it whitens up. I'm not going to do that just yet. I want to get these in position. That's more important before they dry out, because once they dry out you're not really going to be able to move them. So because they're still fresh, I'll be able to move them and position them into place, and then that would mean they'll set once they're hardened off and die. So that's the reason why I want to do that now. So just going to get some wire, put it on these two guys, and we'll come back. Okay, so building the tree step by step. Now you can see much better look. I've wired these. I've only pulled these down, put a couple of wires on it, pull these down to get them out of the way so we can try and position all the nice healthy foliage into the spots we want them to be. Alright, some of the things I really want to try and do is see this trunk bend here. I want to kind of hide that with foliage, so that's one thing I want to try and eliminate. I want to try and get maybe a pad in here, trying to close this, hide this kind of little gap, so it looks like the gins are underneath, the foliage is sitting in between in this little area here. Dimensionally you probably can see in this gap here. I want to try and get foliage in. So this is probably a key branch here to try and do that. I'm going to have to put wire and manipulate it backwards and forwards and try to shrink it back down, as you've seen me do bend and twist and things like that before in my videos. Really getting it to snake a little bit, just so I can compact that, because this is quite a long branch. So we want to really get it compacted into this gap. The foliage, the top of the tree is not too bad. You can see that nice bend in there and that nice twist up there. Lots of healthy foliage, lots of branches that I can pull down and put into place. So as with we pretty much finished the ginning, the shari. As I said, I'm not going to have lime sulphur. It's probably not the best time of year as well to do that because it's late winter here still. Really want to wait for summer. It will dry off much quicker. You just remember I've got that's an air layer that I put on the tree, so I'm just hiding it so you guys can see. And now we pretty much get stuck into wiring. So pretty much wiring is as you don't really need to watch me do the wiring, but hope you guys understand. I will start to wire. I might do the first branch and I'll show you how we position it, and then show you along the way of positioning all the branches. I'm hoping not to remove any more foliage. I think that's it. That's all the foliage I want to remove. The tips are a little bit long, so they might have to come back a little bit, but that's about it. Anything that grows underneath, same, that kind of stuff. I don't want to be removing branches, I should have said. I don't want to be removing large branches. I will do the cleanup, take the foliage underneath, take the foliage that's in the crotches, and the tips are probably a little bit long, but we'll see. I'm not going to, it's going to have the structure. I think we'll have the structure of what the tree is going to look like in the future, but it won't be finished. There's a lot more work to still do on the tree, but at least you get the idea and the process of how we went about doing this tree. Also, I want to make sure I get the front exactly right. So now once I wire it, I'll be able to get the front exactly where I want it to be. It's slightly there or slightly there. That's a nice little gin, but then I want to see that big gin as well. Do I tilt it more? Could tilt more a bitwards, because I don't want that to be too straight. It's a bit straight, so I might have to tilt it a little bit like that. So little things like that we're still going to play with and tweak around, and that's what we're going to do in the next bit of this video. Alright guys, so as I promised, I'd show you the first branch that I wired into place. It took me a good half hour at least to get that right and put it into place. Now I'll show you what I did as well. So I don't know if you can see, this branch was pointing out like this, so I've bent it into the trunk and then brought it around and twisted it out. So I went around like that, twisted around back, and then that was the leader there. Then I created sub branches from the side branches that it was on, and that's how I've created that branch. So I've compacted it. You see now it's not far out. It's pretty much come back into the dimensions of the tree, and so that's what I've done there, and that's the first branch. So pretty good. So I anchored that branch onto this branch you can see here, just slightly above. That's the next one I'll work into, and then I'll put that into place, and then I'll look at starting to create where the apex is going to sit and come in. So it's coming along really well, and it's actually fitting in really nicely to my design, what I had in mind. That branch really came up really nice. We'll have a better look later on, but at the moment it's coming along really well. Let's just step through and work through the process. Now, if you've had a look at my videos on my channel before, I've just showed you how to create foliage pads with junipers as well. So I'm not going to go through that again, but there's a really good video on that, how to create foliage pads, how to create apexes. So there's lots of videos on that as well. Go through my channel, you can find them. But let's go through. Next process is the next branch. So done the first one, now I'll work on this branch, get in position, and get it right. I think I'm going to tilt the tree slightly this way as well, and then I'll retweak the branches. I just think that might be better, because at the moment if I have it there, you see this is pretty straight, but if I have it a little bit this way, it actually look pretty good. So that's the thinking, and we'll see how we come out. Alright everyone, so how is that looking? Probably can't see the best, but you got one layer down here, and the second layer is just happening in here. I've tried to place it on the angle that I'd like to put it in, and try and wire. So I wire it and then put it in position, and then place the branches in position after I finish wiring it, and that's how I try and get the shape. So it's starting to look okay. It's starting to look really good. These two pads are doing well. The only issue I've got is probably a couple of these back branches are proving, just because the air layer is in the way, I've just had to kind of put them in place just for now. They're not in the best place, but I think once that air layer is gone, it'll be much easier to maneuver that and put that into position. Now, pretty much I'm coming up to, where are we? There's a couple of interesting branches here. There's two small ones and two thicker ones. How am I going to work with these and try and get in position? It's going to be fun, but I'm always, yeah, it's going to be compacted regardless. I think some of these are pretty easy. These are quite thin. Some of these nice thin ones can be wired down and placed in position quite easily. These heavier ones are just going to be a bit careful. Like this big guy here is quite heavy. You can see the thickness there. You just got to be careful. Now, to get this down, see how it's quite high up. I'm going to have to go back and then come forward. So after I finish wiring it, I will try and video how I do that. Hopefully you guys can pick up the little tips on how to do that. Most important thing is to make sure you got thick enough wire. You wire the branch in the direction you want to bend it, so the wire naturally goes that direction, so the branch will naturally go that direction. So make sure those little things are in your mind when you're doing that. Make sure that the wire's anchored well, so it doesn't move around. So once you maneuver it, bang, it stays in that place. So yeah, just a couple of little things like that. So let's get cracking. I might actually wire, we probably can't see, there's two branches that are kind of the same thickness, but I'm going to wire them together and just get it the direction right, and then we'll see how we can maneuver that and really bring it in and around and try and drop it into place, and we'll see how that comes about. Alright everyone, so what I've done is I've structurally wired a lot of these branches at the top. I'll turn it around to you. I haven't positioned them yet. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to do this whilst you guys can watch. It's a little tricky. My biggest issue is this branch, this large branch in here. I'm trying to bring the camera in closer. Sorry. Hopefully that's nice and close. It's about the closest I can get. Let's see. Oh, I can get in a bit closer again. All right, there we go. So this is the problem branch here. It's very heavy, and it's going towards the back slightly. I don't know if you can tell, but there's the branch going towards the back slightly. Now I want to. My goal is to actually try and. I think what I'm going to try and do. I need to get into kind of I need to compact this and bring it in and make an apex in the middle there. So the way I compact it is I have to go back and then bring it forward. So that's the plan. Oh, it's not going to be the best with the camera. We'll see how we go. I'm just going to see if I can maneuver some of these guys out of the way. I was probably going to put another wire on there and guy wire these down later. Just trying to put these out of the way. They're not sitting these guys out of the way. So I'm going to make sure I can wire them into place where I think they're going to go first, and then look at trying to get this properly into place. So sorry guys, I'll try and get that work done. I'll get these out of the way and then we'll have a look at trying to get that apex back in. Alright everyone, so I went ahead and tried to wire all that top down because it took a bit of manoeuvring and things like that. So I just couldn't film it, but it needs a little bit more work. But I'm hoping you now can see what I was trying to get to with that tree. So it kind of does look like what I was trying to sketch. It needs more definition to the pads, I can tell that already. So I just got to continually tweak that. My biggest issue is that air layer is kind of blocking a lot of those back branches being set in position. But now hopefully you can tell the kind of tree I was going for. Now imagine if I had those out here, huge. Sorry guys, I lost the volume on my recording, but I was talking about having those large branches. If I left them there, it would throw the whole tree out of whack. But having these gins now, I was able to, enhance the tree better. I'm going to pull them down a bit because just to show them off a bit more. Otherwise it'd be too close to the tree. I think just tweaking them slightly would be good, and that should suit it. So that's good. Now I'm just playing around with the angle of the tree. I think I tilted it too far to the right. So I'm going to try and bring it back a little bit more. I have found that it looks a bit better when it's not as probably halfway to how much I tilted it from the flat to the previous point. If just slight tilt actually improves the tree a little bit more. It still doesn't allow that large gin to be straight. It still has a nice tilt to it, so that's good, and we'll be able to work better with it. So I think that's a better angle and better view, so that looks good. Now I did find the picture. It kind of does look kind of what I was envisioning, so it was probably the head is a little bit thicker than what I thought. On the picture, but I think it's come along pretty much what I had in mind, so that's good news. When you have a plan, it's always good, and when it executes, it's even better. So everything really worked out well. Just need to define the pads a bit more in the future. And as I said, that air layer, once that comes off, I'll be able to maneuver those back branches to fill in that gap at the back there, and hopefully enhance the tree. Now it's just a matter of letting the tree recover. I will not repot this tree until next season. I will just feed it, look after it, make sure it's okay, let the gins dry out, take off the wire, and then paint it lime sulfone, things like that during summer. So it's a bit of a recovery and let it go. And this is now trying to get you a good shot of it with the black background just to show you what it looks like. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching guys. Thanks. Bye.